watching France 24. It's time for The World This Week, 7 days for Paris-based correspondents, 1 hour with us. Craig Kapitas with Quartz and the Atlantic Group. How are you, sir?
Okay.
Also joining us, Christopher Dickey of Newsweek and The Daily Beast. Hamdan Mostafavi, who runs the website for Courrier International, which is a very nifty website indeed, and weekly publication, yes, which compiles the best of the world's press. And Régis Le Sommier, Deputy Editorial Director for French news magazine Paris Match. Welcome. The World This Week, where you can weigh in on the conversation on Facebook and on Twitter. You can find us at François F24. Before we begin, Régis, you've got a book out, and it's called A Beautiful Day in the Tigris River Valley, and it's a quote by
David Petraeus.
General Petraeus. You did a bio of General Petraeus.
I did a bio of General Petraeus. I think he's one of the most important men in the last decades, and still very important. He's a guy who helped turn over the way the war was going in Iraq. He changed many things in the U.S. Army. I think he was instrumental in also understanding what the threat, and Al-Qaeda especially, because the U.S. knew nothing about their enemy after 9/11, and Petraeus was one of the guys who actually pushed for deep reform within the U.S. Army.
Within the U.S. Army.
And also, he's very Francophile. He also took a lot of what the French experienced in Algeria and Indochina in order to reform
the U.S. Army.
Yeah.
Dave Petraeus, now head of the CIA. He's got a boss. His name is Barack Obama. Now, pundits and polls may claim that Obama won last Monday's third and final presidential debate. The incumbent, though, is going to need all the votes he can get, including his own, casting his ballot Thursday in his home constituency in Chicago in the midst of a furious, mad dash to Election Day. By Friday, 3 different polls had Mitt Romney ahead in the popular vote. One gave the edge to Obama. All of them putting Obama ahead in the Electoral College map, all within the margin of error. One poll, though, published by the Washington Post, shows Obama's support among white voters is way behind what it was in 2008. It's dipped considerably in that time. Christopher Dickey, Barack Obama has not been able to regain the mojo, it seems, that he lost in that first debate.
No, but he's certainly coming back. I wouldn't say he's coming back strong, but he is coming back. And it's not just in the debates. It's out on the campaign trail, different kinds of appearances. He was on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno, which lots of young people watch late at night, just last night, and he was very good. He had the kind of charm and accessibility that certainly in the first debate he didn't seem to have. And at the same time, he didn't have to be sparring the way he was in the second 2 debates with Romney. So I think that he has a pretty good shot. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next week we don't see him starting to pull ahead again in the overall polls.
Well, the last Gallup poll just came out and says 51 to Romney, 46 to Obama.
Yeah, but Gallup has been way out of line with every other poll in the country. We don't, and nobody's explained why that is very well. But Gallup is way out of line.
The momentum is not going, I think, in Obama. I mean, in terms of popular vote, then we might find out again. We might face again an election where the popular vote is not is won by the guy who lose the election. So it's going to be very tricky. And all things considered, it seems that at this point it all comes down to Ohio.
Well, it does look like it comes down to Ohio, although if you've got, Virginia's in play, Florida's in play, and, it depends.
Florida, you would put?
Well, actually, yes. Florida is back and forth. Right now, it looks like Romney's ahead. Mm-hmm. I think the biggest problem that Obama had, and it's gone largely unremarked in that first debate, was that he let Romney steamroller him on the question of Medicare. He basically let Romney say a lot of things about Medicare that are patently untrue, and he didn't come back at him. And I think that a lot of people came out of that debate, particularly older people, kind of people there are a lot of in Florida, and sort of said, oh, well, gosh, the Republicans are okay in Medicare. There's not really a problem.
The debates now, though, they're in the past. Now it's all political advertising. And There's been a surfeit of it. According to the New York Times, the two sides and their surrogates will for sure break the $2 billion mark in advertising spending. TV stations in swing states like Florida say they don't have enough airtime to slot in all of the spots.
They would have left 30,000 troops there and called bringing them home tragic.
A menace to our economy. Mitt Romney knows it's not Wall Street you have to worry about, it's Sesame Street.
They're suffering in this country. The president would prefer raising taxes. The problem with raising taxes is that it slows down the rate of growth. I'm not going to raise taxes on anyone.
We prefer to DVR everything nowadays. At least then, we can just fast forward past all of it. We don't have to listen to it, because sometimes you just get mad.
So some people are really sick of it. Craig Kapitas.
I always love the talk of the polls. The only person I ever met who could gauge election mojo was a voodoo priest by the name of Dr. Pagoda, who worked behind the bar at the Boca Chica Lounge down on Donner Key.
Harry's New York bar in Paris, apparently.
Is there a good guy there? We got a good voodoo priest
apparently.
over there,
Yeah.
who can give us the odds. This is silly season now. The 2 weeks prior to any election always enters silly season, and everyone is doing everything from calling Patty Power to find out what the odds are to gauging what's going on in Ohio and these other and these other swing states. I think that the general takeaway is that there's kind of a rule that the closer one gets to this kind of election, it's really difficult to prevent yourself from having an emotional response to the foolishness that's going down. Because at the end of the day, we're supposed to be the arbiters of fair play, to take a cogent look at both sides. And what's interesting here is Obama has not talked to the press in months. What he does is he goes on goofy morning DJ shows. He goes on The Tonight Show. He'll go on The Daily Show. He talks to Rolling Stone, fair enough. But he basically is going for the youth vote, which he had last time, and he figures he's got the African Americans in the can and most of the Latinos. And I'll bet you $1 to a donut, there's someone at the Obama campaign who said, if you really want to win this, you have to go for these young voters.
We have to make them turn out.
Make them turn out, and that's what he's doing. And I think he's doing this at his own peril.
All right, and you mentioned Rolling Stone. Here in France, heads of state have been known to drop the odd explicative in front of an open mic, but it's rare that a U.S. president uses a four-letter word. Well, Barack Obama granting an interview to the magazine, where at the end, one of the reporters tells him that his 6-year-old daughter said he could do it. Well, Obama's response was the following. I do very well, by the way, in that demographic, ages 6 to 12. I'm a killer. Kids have good instincts. They look at the other guy and say, well, that's a BSer. I can tell. That's not how Rolling Stone wrote it.
I'll say it. He said bullshitter.
Yeah.
That's what the president of the United States said on the record.
Well,
I think
God.
it's trying to look more cool, because we've seen today. Yeah.
So this is perfectly staged on his part.
I think it's staged. We can see today, and all the campaign is very strong on the internet for the young people. We've seen today the very famous actress which plays on the TV series Girls, which is called Lena Durham.
That's a very funny clip.
Yeah, she made a very, very funny clip saying, oh, it's my first time, I want it to be special, I want to do it with someone special, and at the end you understand that she's voting for Barack Obama. So now he's going, but it's the last days. It's like everybody's sending the armada to try to convince everyone, but I think the difficulty for Obama is that he's being judged on the things he has done, whereas Romney hasn't done anything yet, so it's always more difficult for the president. But I think in the end, at the last day, really, in the polling, not forget about the polls, everything, people will maybe choose someone who has done actually something, even if they don't agree with that, with the projects of someone who doesn't know where Iran is.
We were so touchy about that.
Yeah, I'm kind of touchy about that.
But
I should be if they plan on attacking it.
I was speaking to some people in the university field in America, and they say that the excitement among the grassroots movement and all that is not there. I mean, it's not as big as it was in 2008.
Yeah, but you can't
certainly.
compare to that, of course.
No, but I mean, we're talking. He's targeting the youth, and he's going to go after their votes. But it's not. I mean, a lot of people have been disappointed.
Yeah,
And,
but
Well,
Romney with women with the youth, I think he has
Yeah, but I mean,
no
the
chance.
problem is that Romney basically, what's his message in this campaign? Basically, his message is, yes, we can.
Yeah.
And Obama's message is basically, we did the best we could. And that doesn't really get a lot of votes, especially among young people. And that's been the problem, at least since the first debate, that's been the problem with Obama again and again, is that he doesn't articulate a vision that sounds really positive. It's like, we're going to get through, we're going to keep on going. And, you know, he's probably right. I think the economy is going to recover in a major fashion if Obama is reelected, and probably better if Obama is reelected. But he doesn't give anybody that feeling.
I wonder about that a lot. It's all about jobs, jobs, jobs. Obama has not addressed this, again, to his peril, and I think to his shame. I think that the problem, as we were talking about before the show, the problem with Romney is most people, the polls that the voodoo priests look at, say that the public feels he would be a good steward of the economy. The concern is, and I probably put more substance in the foreign policy debate than anyone else on the planet, because
Certainly than most voters.
yeah, well, that was an important debate for one thing. It's still, the jury's still out on whether or not Romney is coming in with the neocon crowd, the neoconservatives, who got America into the
Playing
war.
his cards close to his chest.
Right, and I don't know what's worse. I leave that to you. What's worse, bringing in someone who can save the economy, but yet continues this neocon course of bomb first, ask questions later, or the other way around, bring someone in who can save the economy, but prefers talking over, being muscular when appropriate.
That's the indecision going into the race. You mentioned, Hamdan Mustafavi, the word armada on election night. We know that an armada of attorneys are ready in places like Ohio. The Democrats there, by the way, already crying foul over the fact that the Republican candidate's son, Tag Romney, is a major shareholder in the company that's providing the electronic voting machines.
looks like a slot machine.
Christopher Dickey, are we going to have a very long night? I mean, we're going to see a repeat of the year 2000?
God forbid. I mean, let's hope not. But we could. I mean, it is very, very close. And if it comes down basically to one state, it was Florida in 2000, it could be Ohio this time, then yeah, we could easily see a situation where it's very hard to tell. The one difference this time from 2000 is that so many people have voted in advance. You have a lot of people who voted, and in some cases 20% of the people in the state have voted already.
Sometimes more than once.
And by the way,
vote early and vote often, as they say.
By the way, the suspicion is not just in Ohio. The Huffington Post pointing out that not once but twice in the past week, mistakes have been spotted in the Spanish version of official election notices in Arizona's Mariposa County. They give the wrong election date, November 8th there, in Spanish. In both cases, very few people, in fairness, got the erroneous literature in the end. But seeing as 30% of the voters are Hispanic in that particular county, suspicions indeed running high. Then there's this story spotted by Craig Capitas, here present, out of Texas. Now, the Lone Star State enforcing stricter voter ID laws. But when the OSCE said it might send election monitors, like it does so well in places like Eastern Europe, the state attorney general threatened to arrest any foreign observer who comes within 100 feet of a polling station. And the governor, Rick Perry, said no UN monitors, inspectors will be part of any Texas election process. I commend the Texas Secretary of State for swift action to clarify the issue.
Well, they're going to come in black helicopters, aren't they? Isn't that part of the idea?
Don't mess with Texas.
Régis Le Sommier, you've seen past shenanigans in U.S. elections as a correspondent there. Mm-hmm. When you see this kind of talk, what is your reaction?
Well, I mean, I think it's, these are interesting things happening all over the countries, but I'm not so sure. I mean, it's like Craig said, I mean, it's a very particular time where everybody is excited from, the end of the day to the beginning of the day, then the dynamics change and there's some drama happening all the time. And in the end, everybody will be waiting on, next Tuesday day, and we'll see who'll be the
Chris
winner.
is saying the unthinkable, that it's not a repeat of 2000. It could be like the early 19th century again. If you have a tie in the Electoral College, then the House of Representatives, which is Republican, will vote for the president. And that will be Romney, and the Senate, which is Democratic, will vote for the vice president, which is Biden. So you get a Romney-Biden coalition government. How French, how European.
Cohabitation.
Cohabitation.
We've said,
It's happened
but
before.
Craig Capitas, that said, there is an endorsement that came out this week, and it just might swing the race.
If I was an American citizen, I wouldn't hesitate to vote for Obama. It's clear that the US can be a bit extreme on a few topics. One such topic is the Israel-Palestine situation. If Obama is re-elected, I hope that France and Europe can do what's right.
Hamdan Mustafavi, the French Prime Minister, socialist Jean-Marc Ayrault, endorsing Barack Obama. Is that going to swing it?
I don't. Do you think Romney knows who's Jean-Marc Ayrault? I'm not sure he knows actually. I don't think. And he says what's. He speaks French. Yeah, maybe he speaks French, but he says he's gonna solve Israel and Palestine problem. Obama, if he comes back, I don't know, but I don't think it's gonna really change everything. Colin Powell, I heard was supporting Obama. Maybe that might change a little bit more, or some other more important people.
Fiddlesticks. The sad reality is that America is suffering from Arab/Muslim fatigue.
Yeah.
The American voter really doesn't give two hoots. When I was last in the States, from people who I once knew as liberals,
They just don't want to hear about it.
they don't want to hear about it. And they,
When we come back, though, we're going to turn our attention to the Middle East and talk about the visit of the Emir Qatar to Gaza, and also the bad week for Italy's former prime minister, who says he's calling it quits.